Okay, good morning, guys. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to deal with series and sequences. Okay, so Ronale question 2 on the board. It says the following geometric sequence is given, which is 10, 5, 2.5, and 1.25. Now it says calculate the fifth term, which is T5 uh, of this sequence. Okay, now how do we calculate the fifth term? So from the board, we can clearly see that Male T4. Remember, we don't have any equation yet, guys. So let me choose my pen. Uh, choose to write this color. So we can see Ormo Male T4. Okay. So now, how about that T5? What we're going to do, the first step is look for R. So R is equals to the first term divided by the second term divided by the first term. So we have 5 divided by 10, which is equals to 1 of 2. Okay. Now that we have our R, we can calculate our T5. Okay. So remember, R is this divided by that. That's how we get R. So we are going to take T5 divided by T4. So R is equals to T5 divided by T4. T4 is 1.25. And then we know that our R is 1 over 2. So we will have our 1 of 2, which is equals to T5 divided by 1 comma 25. Okay. Now if you rearrange your equation, your T5 will be equals to 1 of 1.25 divided by 2. So this will be 0.625, and that is our fifth term. Now, the follow-up question, which is question 2.2, it says determine the nth term. Okay, so when they want the nth term, they basically want the equation. So 2.2 nth term will be given by Tn, which is equals to, remember here, there must be A. Okay, it must be A into R n minus 1. So we have our A as the first term, which is 10. So we're going to write 10 there into our R, which is 1 over 2 into n minus 1. So this will be our defining equation for the nth term. Right. Now question 2.3. Okay. Now when they are asking you to determine if the infinite series converges, what do they mean? Okay. Now how do a converging sequence? A sequence loreng, the limit is known. Okay. That's that's basically what converges means. So and then how do the divergent, the limit runs to infinity. So you do not know the limit because it goes to infinity. Hence, you can say the other sequence, yeah, diverger, the other sequence converges. So in this case, let us focus on our convergence. Okay. Now, let us determine the value of R. We can see that, for example, -1 is less than the value of R, which is less than 1. Okay, but then r is half, so r is 1 over 2, which is less than 1. Now I can show you a practical example. You can look at, remember we got an equation of t n. So we can say t 100, which is equals to the first term was 10 into half. Then here you need to put 100 minus 1. You will see that your values approaches 0, but they are never, Tn is never equals to 0 itself. Okay, so when we say it converges, we know where the series is going, even though it doesn't touch that exact number, but we know that it goes as close as possible to that particular value. Okay, I hope it makes sense. Let's go to the next question. So when you answer, you need to show this. Okay. 2.4. Determine the sum to infinity minus the sum of the first n terms in the form of a, b, n, where Sn is the sum of the first n terms. Okay. Okay, let me clear up our screen so that it can be tidy. All right, back to the book. So the question says determine s to infinity minus the sum of the first n terms. Okay, now what is the sum to infinity? Sum to infinity is a divided by 1 minus r. Okay, so now we take this subtraction on the equation, we put it back there. Then the sum to infinity is given by a into 1 minus r exponent n divided by 1 minus r. So now we need to substitute. Okay, so a is 10, which is our first value, divided by 1 minus our ratio, which is 1 over 2, minus a 10 again into 1 minus 1 over 2, which is exponent n. Okay, divided by 1 minus 1 over 2. Okay, so if you take 1 minus half, it will give you half. So 10 divided by half, let me rewrite the equation, minus sum of the n terms is equals to 10 divided by half, you get 20. So even here, this 10 divided by the bottom half, you will get 20 into 1 minus 1 over 2n. Okay, now this 20 here will multiply 1 and will also multiply in front of the half there. Okay, so we'll have our ordinary 20 there. The first one minus 20 times positive 1, it's minus 20. Negative 20 times the negative sign, it will be positive 20. Then we have what? 1 over 2n. Okay, now 20 minus 20, they will cancel. Then the final answer will be 20 into 1 over 2n. Okay, now this is your final answer to question 2.4. Okay, now let us add another question so that we can see what is what here. Okay, okay, now this is our new question. So in this new question of ours, but given the finite arithmetic sequence. So now they are telling you that this is an arithmetic sequence. Okay, write down the fourth term. So as you can see, you have the first term, you have the second term, you have the third term, but the fourth term is blank. So the question says write down the fourth term. Okay, now arithmetic sequence is a sequence whereby the difference between all numbers is the same. So now if you want D, by the way, I'm solving 2.1. If you want D, D is equals to 1 minus 5. Okay, my network is experiencing problems. Please forgive me about that. Yes. So D is equals to 1 minus 5. Okay, which is equals to minus 4. All right. So now we know that D is equals to minus 4. If you want the fourth term, T4, we are going to say uh, minus 3 plus the difference will give us the fourth term, which is minus 7. Okay, now this is the answer. Now calculate the number of terms in the sequence. So now if you want the number of terms in the sequence, Tn must equal A. Now this is a general formula for the arithmetic sequence. Okay, Tn A plus n minus 1 multiplied by the difference. Okay, now A is the first term. So the first term will be 5. Okay, now since the difference is negative, I will bring it in front of the bracket. So it's minus 4 into n minus 1. Okay, now we want to know the number of terms. So since we want to know the number of terms, I'll make use of the last and substitute it there. So it's minus 87, which is our last term. Now our job is to find the value of n. So 87 negative 87 is equals to 5. Now 4 times negative 4 will be minus 4n. I mean 4 times n will be negative 4n. Then 4 multiplied by negative 1 will be positive 4. Then if we take 5 and 4 to the left hand side, we say we transpose them. If we transpose them, we will have a minus 87 minus 4 minus 5, which total it says minus 9, which is equals to minus 4n. So this will give us negative 96 minus 96, which is equals to minus 4n. You divide by negative 4, you divide by negative 4, negative 4. So n will equals to 24. So in this sequence, you have 24 number of terms. Okay, but now here's the interesting part. Question 2.3. It says calculate the sum of all negative numbers. Not all the numbers in the sequence, but only the sum of the negative numbers. So what do we do from here? Okay, let me erase so that we can have enough space. to calculate the sum of all the negative numbers. Okay, if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Subscribe, like, and hit the share button and share the channel with your friends. Okay, guys, for more growth so that we can get enough equipment and enhance the quality of our videos. Okay, cheers. So, good. Now we are calculating the sum of all the negative numbers. Okay, but now if you can look at the sequence, the negative numbers start from the third term. Okay, so we did determine that in the series we have the total of 24 number of terms. Okay, but now we have excluded how many? Two. The two positive numbers we need to exclude them, which is 5 and 1. So that means the number of terms that we have in total will be 22. Okay, so now when I'm calculating for the sum, which is Sn, you're supposed to use the formula of n over 2 into a which is the first term, plus tn. Okay, now in this case, okay, now firstly, let me substitute. We have 22 number of terms divided by 2. Now in this case, our a is not 5 because now 5 has been excluded. The first term to our sequence will be 3. Okay, now the first term to our sequence is this number here. It is the first negative term that we're going to call zeta. So we substitute the value of -3 there, okay, as our first value. Then we will add the negative number, which is -87 as the last number. Tn means the last number. Now, if you simplify, you're going to get the sum as 990. Okay, so guys, this is your solution. Okay, by the way, this number will be negative because it will be the sum of all negative numbers. Okay, so the sum will be negative. Now this is your 2.3. Okay, now if you want to solve the 2.4 question, just pause the video, try to solve it, and I will then solve it for you. All right, let us proceed. Question 2.4, it says consider the sequence 5, 1, -3. There's a gap up until -83 and 87, then another gap until 4, 1, and 87. Determine the number of terms in this sequence that will be exactly divisible by 5. Yeah. Now we are getting deeper into mathematics. Okay, so I'll be creating a little bit of space. I'm sorry guys, I have a network lag. Okay, so now let's get to it, guys. Now, for us to be able to get the number of terms that are exactly divisible by 5, we just need to, okay, let me also move this with ink. Okay, thank you. So yeah, what we need to do, we need to check the first few numbers so that we can get a formula that are multiples of 5. Okay, so as you can see, in the equation here, you will want the next number that is divisible by 5. So remember the difference here is minus 4. Okay, so now I will start it from here. Okay, we have minus 3, and then you add minus 4, it's minus 7. Okay, add minus 4, it's minus 11. Minus 4, then this one, it's divisible by 5. So it's minus 15. Okay, then you subtract 4. Okay, I want to return to the color of red. So then you will then have a minus 4, it's minus 19, minus 19, minus 23, minus 27, minus 31, and the next one it's also divisible by 5, minus 35. So it is the first term which is 5. So it is the first term which is 5, then 15, then 35. Now you make a sequence only because of those numbers. So you will have 5, you will have 5, you will have minus 15, you will have minus 35. Okay, now this is your new sequence, technically so. Okay, now what is the difference between the terms? So the difference between 15 and 5, minus 15 minus 5, you will get that the difference is minus 20. Okay, now the difference between negative 35 and negative 15 is negative 20. All right, now that you know the difference, let us try to form a formula. Okay, so Tn must equal to A into number of terms minus 1 into the difference of, by the way, there's a plus here, into the difference of minus 20. Okay, I'd advise you when the difference is negative, put it in front of this bracket. All right, so now let us simplify it. Your A is positive 5 minus the difference of 20 into n minus 1. Okay, now we simplify your equation. You need to simplify. So this multiplied into that, this multiplied into that. So which we will have um, 5 minus 20n, negative 20 times negative 1, it's positive 20. So positive 20 plus 5. So the final simplification of this expression is over negative 20 and plus 25. Okay, now this is the final equation. So now we are yet to answer the question. Determine the number of terms that are divisible by 5. So now our last term in this, it's not even divisible by 5. So we need to induce it, force it to be divisible by 5. Mind you, this is the last term, so we cannot increase. The only option we have is to go backwards. So if we go backwards, remember the difference of this equation, this sequence, I mean, was the addition of negative 4. So when you want to reverse it, you don't add negative 4, you add positive 4. Okay? Now, the term that is divisible by 5 will be that term, I'll just put it as Tn, which is minus 4187, 4187. Okay, for us to reach a number that is divisible by 5, you have to subtract 4 and check, subtract 4 and check. So if you add 4 here, I mean, not subtract, if you add 4 more, you will find that you get negative 1 4, negative 4 1 8 83, then 79, then 75, and 75 is divisible by 5. So we will add 4 times 3, then we will force it to be the value of sorry for the network lag, negative 4175. Now we have a number that is divisible by 5. Okay, so now since we have a number that is divisible by 5 and we have an equation, we can calculate the number of terms. So let us calculate the number of terms. So the number of terms, which is Tn, let's look at the last term, which is that one. So we have negative 4175, which is equals to the equation that we have. This equation, negative 20 plus negative 20n. Okay, negative 20n plus 25. So that is negative 20n. So now we need to transpose this 25 to that side, it becomes negative. So we are going to have minus 4200, which is equals to minus 20n, which is equals to negative 20n. Okay, now the next step is to divide by negative 20n. Okay, I said negative 4200, there's a 0 there. So divide by minus 20, divide by minus 20. Okay, this 0 will cancel that 0. 2 divided by 420, it is 210. Okay, so n is equals to 210 number of terms. Okay, and that will be the end of our video, guys. So now, if you want me to become your private tutor, you need to text me. I'm going to write the numbers on the board. Okay, let me just clear up the screen so that you know which ones are the numbers to get in contact with you. Okay.